Okay, so the big question I get asked all the time, how safe is Pakistan? Well, on the World Index list, it's actually a safer country than the US. It's only 1 point behind New Zealand, so that puts it in perspective in my opinion. I do believe that the friendliness and the kindness I've seen here from people is beyond. I've never had as many people go out of the way, people want to help, people interested in helping you than any country I've ever visited in my life. This is the 67th country I've visited, and it's definitely #1 for people. I've had nothing go wrong. The worst thing that happened was instead of getting a bus, I got talked into a private taxi, but because it was really cheap. I then realised after an hour that they wanted to fill the car but couldn't fill the car. I raised my voice slightly, they felt bad, and I ended up getting a private car, which then I felt bad. But it turns out the guy was from the town I was going to anyway, so it wasn't a problem. So travel far, travel hard, keep going. You know, a lot of people have been asking me this, been messaging me this, oh, don't get kidnapped, don't, you know, is it dangerous? Nothing what I have seen, zero, makes this country dangerous. It is not dangerous. I've had conversations about Islam. I am quite into religion. I am quite knowledgeable in Islam, I suppose. I do respect Islam. The thing is, nobody has ever said anything to me out of sorts. Nobody has ever questioned my religion. In here you can go to any mosque, you know, you are allowed, you know, and I'm not even sure, you know, that goes on in every country, but it's very open. It's Pakistan. They want you to see this beautiful country. There's nothing I have seen, only in the areas I've been, you know. I have not seen the whole country, of course. From the Hunza Valley, all in Kashmir, absolutely. Islamabad, Lahore, absolutely nothing has ever, not one glimpse of my day has made me think that this place is dangerous. Is the poverty? Of course. You know, I remember when I was young, travelling 20 years ago more, people always used to say, oh, don't give to the beggars, it just promotes begging. You know, I'm 43 years old now, and I've realised that giving a few people a few little rupees here and there ain't going to change begging. Not in India, not in Pakistan. I've had little kids come up to me on more than one occasion, you know, when I've been eating on the street or anything. They put their hand out, and the one time I had 10 rupees change, which is nothing, and I was going to give him it, and he shook his head and he wanted the samosa. You know, you've got to be a cold-hearted bastard to me not to hand that little boy that samosa, you know what I mean? So yeah, I do give now and again. How does this compare to India? It's a great question. Personally for me, I've travelled India 3 times. You know, probably not even scratched the surface, as you well know, anyone who's been there. The one thing about India for me is, for every amazing person you meet a pain in the ass, you know. So the amount of times somebody does something for you and it's so kind and generous, and then all of a sudden the hand comes out at the end and it was never exactly what you thought it was going to be, you know. And then the next time someone does something nice, you've got your guard up and he actually is nice. You never know where you stand in India. That's just my opinion. I have the times it by 10 rule. For everything, just times it by 10, because there's no scale. So if you feel good, times it by 10. You feel bad, times it by 10. Good food, times it by 10. Bad food, times it by 10. Rich, times it by 10. Poverty, times it by 10. India has no scale. It's so difficult to know where you stand out there. You know, so India's tough travel. Pakistan, completely the opposite, I've found. It's more like Nepal, if anyone's been there, than it is India. People are genuine. I've been told that I do actually pay a little bit more than the locals, but God, it's cheap. Things like people will help you. Again, I've just been on a bus today. Once they know where you're going, they will make sure you get off at the right stop. There's never no more than, you don't pay more than a local on these kind of excursions. There's just, everything is so easy to do. People really do have your back out here. I've never eaten, or well, I have eaten on my own, but I've always been invited to be and eat with people. Every time you sit down, someone calls you over. Maybe it's different because I'm a man. I can't answer that question. I'm never gonna know the answer to that. Okay, so the big one, drinking drugs. How easy is it to get? The one thing that I've missed the most is a bar. I love a drink. Love a drink. You know, some days you've got a nice, beautiful, sunny day. It's cold. You know, you've woke up. You've done a trip. You know, you want to go for a beer. That's me. Go to a bar, meet people. Two things they don't have, or two things I've noticed. They don't have bars. I've never seen a bar. Apparently they exist in Lahore, Islamabad, along with red light districts and everything. Apparently they all exist in the cities. Two reasons though. One, no one drinks, obviously, you know, Islamic country, which I, you know, I totally respect. Number two, there ain't any travellers anyway. So if they had been a bar, I'd have been on my own. However, when you get into these sort of places, you sort of make some local friends. They do have something called Hunza water, which is a local homebrew. You know, it's not unusual to meet people who like a little drink of the old Hunza water. So when we've been in like a hotel, like hostel sort of place, and we get on the roof, have a fire, crack a bit of Hunza water, happy days, you know, no problem whatsoever. I've even got a couple to bring home, so give us a shout if you want to enjoy that with me. The drug situation, hash seems relatively easy to get. Certainly, again, if you know people, I haven't found it obvious. You know, people's not in your face about it, but if you get to meet someone, usually a good, like a guide or someone at the hotel, or I was lucky to meet a lad travelling from Islamabad, straight away, well, you know, what do you need? Alcohol, hash? So, you know, you can get it. So, yeah, it's pretty much same as anywhere. Rough cost of living. I've been paying roughly £10 a night. I can't stay in a dorm, too old for that shit. I need my own bathroom, 43, do you know what I mean? And I like a double bed. So that's what it's been costing me. And everything's been cool for that. I've not had a, you know, don't get me wrong, I don't know what more luxury is. I don't watch TV in my room, I only sleep in my room. As long as I've got Wi-Fi and a clean toilet, I'm pretty happy. And you can get £10 a night for that. But again, I'm travelling in winter. Maybe it's different in the summer and the spring and the autumn. Politics of Pakistan. You know, I don't believe it's my place to have my judgment on Pakistan politics. You know, I'm not a fan of politics worldwide, so, but I do like to talk about politics in different countries. I found the people that are interested, I mean, a lot just don't understand. You know, they don't really seem to care. But I guess that's probably my lack of speaking Urdu and local languages. The few educated I've spoke to, mainly young, are not a fan. I've had a lot of people say, you know, I do not like Pakistan. I'm like, why? And then they all start to talk about corruption and politics and things like that. It's the same the world over, unfortunately. I try to tell people, but, you know, as we all think that we live in the worst one, and, you know, because it's the only one that really matters to us personally. You know, for me, there's nothing more corrupt than Britain, the US, and all these countries that go around just hurting people, to be fair. Hurting people. But yeah, that's something I have touched on very gently, but always happy to talk about.